Hello everyone. We are here for a new meeting. And I'm amazed about the simplicity of the message and with the contrast with the way most humanity live its life, or the way the world is unfolding. The finite mind is focused on fulfilling its endless desires. It has a very limited perspective on reality, how much is actually here. And this limited perspective generates fear, anxiety. It generates a sensation of separation, a sensation of death, of everything is doomed, of desperation. And as a technique, as a mechanism to avoid all of those terrible things, terrible emotions and sensations, it manufactures an infinite impulse of desires. It either try to fulfill the desire, either trying to repress the emotions. And it creates a confusion. It creates confusion. It creates conflict. It fosters suffering in so many different ways. And the only way out of this seems to disappear. The clarity that is prior to this confusion, the presence that is aware of the thought, that is aware of the finite mind that presents itself, the awareness within which the experience of being finite, of being separate from the environment arises, is completely overlooked. And we get hypnotized by the drama, by our thoughts, by our perceptions, our sensation, and we are hypnotized by the narration that is presenting, that is arrived in, and that is presented to us. And we get identified with a specific entity, limited by thoughts, limited by sensation, that is bound by the mind and bound by the body. And then this generates so much fear, anxiety and distress and suffering that there is a huge and seemingly unstoppable impulse to seek a relief in the world outside. And it doesn't matter what happened, it doesn't matter, and nothing matters but just to resolve this suffering, to fulfill this impossible desire that is here. That generates so much confusion, conflict. It's so unnecessary. that is mind-blowing to see that it still happens. So what we are doing here, it's pointing to the path, the only path possible toward peace. There is no other one. And the only path to peace is to understand what we are, to understand the nature of our experience, the nature of thoughts. That thought is an appearance within us. To understand the mechanism of physicality, but not from from the perspective of theory, but from actuality. Physicality, matter, it's an experience that appears in our field of sensing. We perceive and we touch physical things. So the physicality for us is an experience of sense, of perception and sensation. And it's very important to explore this very carefully, because as long as there is a sense of separation, as long as there is this sense of I am separated from you, the world out there is separated from me, the animal, the environment, the star, the universe is separate, it's out there, and I am in here. As long as this is within us, conflict it's impossible to avoid. So it seems that what we are doing here, it's trying to improve our life, our little life, and we are here meeting. But this is really on the superficial level. What we are really pointing to, it's to the root cause of all suffering, of all pain, and all conflict. And the only way to bring peace within us and peace within our experience is to be in contact with that directly within us, to have this experience, to have this understanding, which is not something that can be explained. Those times I'm more and more exposing myself and my teaching through different platforms, and I'm more in contact with people from around the world, and I'm receiving feedback. Some are really beautiful feedback. Some people can understand the message, they understand toward what is pointing, and some others are still catch up in the conceptual layers of our experience. It is analytical mind that is trying to find solutions, logical solution, as if what is here is logical. But what we are, it makes no sense. We can't explain it. We can't logically convince anyone. But the really good news is we don't have to. We have to be aware of what is present right now and what we are. And through feeling the peace of our being, through the process of discovering what we are, we will be the message of peace, simply by noticing it. And that's why there is no need to focus on our environment and situations around us. Doesn't matter how terrible they seem to be, because the only way to change them is to change yourself. It's not really change yourself, but it's to see what you are clearly, and then there will be this infathomable intelligence that is holding everything together, that is holding this coherence together, will take over naturally. So often we have the tendency to see too small. We are convinced that this is about my life, how this message, how this process can improve my life, me, my process, my relationship, my lover, my kids, my this, my house, mine. But this is way bigger than you can even think. And the process that is doing it, it's it's unthinkable. So often I find myself in a strange situation where I have to use words to explain something that is impossible. But here I am, because that's the only thing I feel I'm able to do. So if you have any question on this topic, or if you want to share anything, you are very welcome to speak. Yeah, right.
Hello. Hi. I have a question that may be pertinent to what you were just talking about. Um, so I think, I was speaking with some friends the other day, and they were saying something. It was basically something like, yeah, this is a really huge deal where it's like consciousness wants to know itself and it wants to experience like the stories of every person and it's something like that. And I remember it was a feeling almost of like, I don't think I'm definitely not capable of understanding that, you know? What I like my goals are small, kind of like what you were saying, where it's like I'm worried about, myself, my situation, kind of the things that I experience directly in my day-to-day life. And well, I don't know. I guess is there any kind of problem with that? Because the way you were talking about it just now almost made me feel like, oh, I think maybe I don't understand how broad the implications are or how big of a deal it is, but I don't know. I guess in a way, I'm also like, I'm not sure that that's a problem, but I guess I wanted to run it by you because you're just talking about it.
When we start, we believe that it's about improving your personal life. And at some point, I hope you will be disappointed. And you will perceive that human life is not something that needs to be improved, not in the way that we usually think about. Human life is an experience that we are having. It's a feeling that arises in infinite consciousness. So it's very powerful because it arises within us. It is very powerful, and it is very meaningful. Yeah. So your day-to-day life, it's full of meaning, but it's full of meaning because it's an expression of consciousness, not because it's your life, Ray, doing whatever you think is meaningful. This is meaningless. The meaning comes from the awareness that is identified with the story. That is, often it's easier if you. I often use the image of kids because often it's kind of a bit easier to kind of perceive the taste. When you watch a baby playing with something, is it meaningful or not? You see,
I mean, yeah.
it depends the perspective you take. If you impose your belief, your interpretation of life, your goals, your assumption on what is success, your survival, your fear, you will say it's meaningless. Because he needs to hunt, he needs to protect himself, he needs to learn a job, because you impose your image on another experience, another being experience. But from within the baby, it's amazing. What else is there to do? Just things is happening and he's aware of his experience. So the meaning is not in what we do. The meaning is in what we are. But we project ourselves, we identify our awareness with thoughts, and we adopt, we say, okay, I agree with you that the survival of this body is very important. I agree with you that I am this body. I agree with you that having a work that is socially important is very important. I agree with you that I need money. I agree with you that I need to do sport. I agree with you that I need a beautiful wife or a beautiful husband. I agree with you that I need children. I agree with you this. I agree with you. And we spend our time saying yes, 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 yes. And we suffer. So we agree with everything that thought is presenting to us, and then we complain because we suffer. Yeah. So as soon as I say a thought arises, a belief, a system of belief is there, and I say, I agree with you. I will project the meaning, my meaning, on the belief, and therefore I will perceive the meaning outside. It will seem to be outside of myself. For example, it's very important to be a Swiss citizen. Being a Swiss citizen is very important. The country, Switzerland. I say yes, it's important. And therefore, Switzerland becomes very meaningful to me. You see? But the meaning is not in the country, because the country in itself is a thought. The meaning is not either in the belief that I am a Swiss citizen and citizen is very important. That's also a thought. The meaning is me. I am the meaning. That is to say, you don't need to understand anything. Because we started because I don't understand, I will never understand. Yeah, you will never understand, but you don't have to understand. And what you call your day-to-day life, your experience is what needs to be explored. So if you are a monk on a Tibetan mountain, being killed by Chinese, well, this is what you have to explore. If you are Ray, doing whatever job and having conflicting things happening, this is what you need to see. Because by seeing it deeply, you will see that the challenge is not at the level where you perceive it. It's way more near.
Can you explain what you mean by that? That the challenge is more near than I perceive it? What do you mean by that?
I have a conflict with my neighbor. Yeah. My neighbor is the problem. The conflict is at the level of, this is my neighbor, he's not doing what I want him to do. and I'm not doing what he wants me to do. So we are in conflict. The conflict is my neighbor. The easiest way the mind says to eradicate the conflict, right? So if I get rid of the neighbor, I will get rid of the conflict. Or I can force him to do whatever I want, and then I will get rid of the conflict. Yeah, but then if I kill him, I will have another conflict, because probably someone will start looking for him or things like this, and without talking about the guilt and all of this. But anyway, okay, so I can do this, but I can force him. So maybe I'm stronger and I can really force him to do what I want. But then I'm in conflict again, because I have to constantly watch him. And I know he will rebel whenever he can. So there I'm in conflict. I'm in endless conflict, because now I am the guardian of the jail. But I'm in jail also, because I'm not free, because I have to constantly watch my neighbor, because as soon as I turn my back, he will hit me, So I have to be. So there is no solution there, because the solution is not really at this level, even if there can be agreement. But there is not there. The conflict is, I know what he needs to do. I am right. My thought is right. My way of life is right. My belief is right. My assumption is right. The way I live life is right. Everyone should listen to me. I'm God. If everyone do what I want, the world will be beautiful. Everything thinks that. From the president to the poor people, everyone is. If everyone lives the life the way I believe that humans should do, we will all be perfect. That's the madness. So the conflict is at the core, that I believe there is this thought that emerges, and I associate myself with it. I say, yes, of course I'm right. Yes, of course my limited perspective on my neighbor is the correct one. And his perspective is nothing. I am right. My narrow perspective on actuality is the only perspective, and everyone else is wrong. I'm right. So all of my beliefs are right, all of my assumptions are right, all of my interpretations are right. I'm right, everyone is wrong. Yeah. So when you did this, you accept your limited perspective on life as the absolute. And if you go deeper than that, you will see that there is a full range of emotion that I kind of hiding below this. Because I can be in conflict with my neighbor and not having emotion, like reactivity. I can be annoyed, of course, because some reason. And there can be an impulse to find some kind of resolution to it. But it's not personal. Right? When it gets personal, it's because there's an emotion, and instead of feeling it, I'm hiding it by saying, no, he is responsible for it, and therefore I don't have to feel the emotion. Yeah, so it seems very complex, maybe. I'm trying to make it simple, but the simple thing is, you feel an emotion, something uncomfortable, and you go into thought. You say, thought will find a solution to this. So you say yes to thought constantly, because we already believe that thought will find a solution for what we feel as an issue within us. But ultimately, there is nothing to think about. Life is not something that you think, it's not something that you resolve. It's an experience that arises right here, right now. All of the present is appearing here. All of the past is appearing here completely. This is the past, right here. This is it. All of it is here. So we have to be humble and to notice where we are and what's happening. When there's a challenge that emerge, what you call our day-to-day life, if we feel that it's a challenge, it is a challenge. It doesn't matter what other person believe. If I want a Ferrari, and to me it's a life or death situation having a Ferrari, I cannot negate it. I have to face the the situation of that I'm experiencing. And there's another part who want to deny it. No, but Ferrari is nothing. But that's just the mess. You have to really just be just honest and see what is here. And you will see it's never about the situation. So I want a Ferrari or I want enlightenment. It's really the same seeking. It's the same mechanism, But some people have some spiritual story of being superior if you seek enlightenment than if you seek a Ferrari, which is fine. But it's the same. So you face what is here and you see, I want a Ferrari, so there is something that wants something that is not here. Okay, so you say, where is this emptiness? What would this Ferrari fulfill? And you turn inward, and you do the same with enlightenment. Why do you want enlightenment? Just like the Ferrari, because you believe that it will fulfill something. So what is the void? What is so terrible here to feel? If my neighbor stops doing what I don't want him to do, I will finally feel peace. So what do you feel now? That is so horrible. Be with that. You listen to it. What's this?
So I guess to being with the emotion, I mean, what is I know this I'm not really sure how to phrase this, but like, what would we say is the purpose of doing that as opposed to like, moving out of your house or like, complaining about your neighbor to somebody else? When you sit with the emotion and feel it instead of brainstorming all the different things that you're gonna do to solve the problem, is that I don't want to say there's necessarily a goal, but you know, is the goal to recognize that the emptiness in which the thoughts are arising, or how do those things fit together?
First, when you have a conflict, you do whatever you can to solve it. Okay, you have a neighbor, you have a problem, you go to the police, you write letters, you do. But at some point, the neighbor is here, you are here, and you go to bed, and there's nothing more you can do. At some point, you have to accept the situation as it is, right? So you can, I don't negate the power of the mind to solve issue. That's why it is here. But there is so much you can do in every time and every issue. Often there's an impulse, you do it, and then you have to wait. So in this time of there's nothing more I can do, like if you have a broken bone and you go to the hospital, you are waiting for 2 hours. Well, there's nothing more. Here you are. You wait. Nothing more you can do. In this moment, you don't need to think about anything. The resolution process is gone. It's not needed anymore because you did whatever the impulse emerged and whatever the best action was happen, and there you are. Okay, so it's not a negation of this power of the mind to solve things. But now, this is tricky because if you approach emotion with this, what the purpose, you be violent toward it. There's a violence approaching an emotion with a purpose. And you will feel it. It's in everywhere there is violence. If you go into forest to cut a tree, you will feel you are kind of rejecting almost all of the forest because you want one tree. If you want to pick up one flower on a walk in nature and you want for one specific flower, you will see it's completely different. That I'm going to walk on the forest and see what happened. I just want to be amazed about what is here. It's completely different. And the same with people. If I approach you with I want Ray to give me money, I want Ray to give me a hug, I want Ray to agree with me, I want Ray, you will see that what the hell does he want from me? What do you want? It's so strange, But when you meet without purpose, it's beautiful, Oh, let's do this, let's do that. Why not? Yes, no, and things emerge and whatever. It's very different. So first, it's if you engage with your emotion with a purpose of, it can be very violent toward your own self. Now, I explore emotion personally because I see that there is no choice. The emotion will not go anywhere, and if I don't pay attention to it, it will really get bigger and it will start to influence things very weirdly. It's terrible to avoid an emotion because it's not going anywhere anyway. Yeah. So you ask what the purpose. I'm asking what choice do you have?
Well, I mean, I guess ostensibly the choice would be to not feel the emotion and go into thought, to think about like, oh, here's what I'm gonna do about my neighbor's playing loud music again. I'm gonna move out, or I'm gonna go upstairs and like tell them to stop, or I'm gonna do this or that. And it can become a situation where you're lost in thought, or you're not feeling the emotion of whatever it is you're feeling, which is like hopelessness, fear, anger, those things. And I guess, yeah, I mean that's sort of I guess in a way, I'm wondering if we're exploring the emotions so that we are paying attention to the emotions that are there instead of the thoughts. And I'm wondering if that's what you mean when you say like that's like that the what we're looking for is like closer to us. I don't remember exactly how you phrased it earlier, but I was just trying to get a clear understanding of what you meant.
Yeah. Every energy that emerge always resorb. Whatever thought you had, whatever importance the thought had, it has vanished. The proof is not here. So at some point in our life there is thought, my exams, my first girlfriend, my first child, and then where are those thoughts that seem like it's life or death, or it's so important? Where are they? They're gone. They're gone because it doesn't matter the intensity of an experience. It always resorb. Every experience resorb. It is the impermanence that the Buddhism is so attached to. It's this impermanence of experience. So everything come and everything go. And tenderness, it's a very, very important aspect. It's one with sensitivity. I don't name it like that but anyway, tenderness is very powerful. So now, when you go into thought, if you see that thoughts are they are in agitation, or they are seeking a solution, and you are seeing it, you are not really catch up by thoughts. You are perceiving the agitation of the situation that emerge. Yeah, it's part of it. And the way that thought is getting agitated is part of the event. Yeah. So first, I would change the way you think about it and the way you talk about it, and you will see it can be very, very different. You will feel it completely differently. Instead of saying, I'm lost in thought, I'm avoiding this, and perceive that, okay, thoughts are very agitated. There is agitation in thoughts. But if you are perceiving thoughts, you are still perceiving your experience.
Right.
Yeah. So you can see the madness that is in thoughts. 99.9999% of the time, it's really either very aggressive or based on fear and anxiety. It's very limited. So you perceive the thoughts, you perceive the stream of the thoughts appearing. And instead of judging your system, your mind and your body, simply perceive, okay, this is what's happening. This is the best that this body and mind can act at this moment. And to accept is not an action. Acceptance is, it is happening. So it's not that you have to accept it. You have to see that it's already happening. So if we want to go deeper into the emotion, often we have to accept the agitation of the mind. But the acceptance is not I accept that this mind is agitated. Is I perceive that there is no other choice, that I am aware of agitation. Yeah, and you stay with this. But instead of be hypnotized by the content of the thoughts and the solution, you perceive it has a texture. Just as sensation has in sensing, there is a sense of expansion and a sense of contraction. There is no neutrality anywhere. That's an energy. No sensation is neutral. Every sensation is vibrating, is moving, is shifting, is expanding, contracting. There is no stillness in sensation. It's the same in thoughts. There are thoughts that feel expanded, like, oh, you're in God, and I'm one with the universe, and so it's still thoughts. It's still a thought, but it feels expanded. Yeah. Oh no, my neighbor, my money, I want to move, I don't have money, but I'm still here, what will I do? That's you can say that's a contracted thought. Yeah. But it has a texture. Yeah, you know what I mean? Below the narration, it has a specific quality to it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're kind of making the distinction between the content of thought and thought as a phenomenon, right? So if, in my example here, I'm saying, okay, I'll give a real example because I might as well. I'm thinking of it. So yesterday I was meditating, and then my upstairs neighbor just moved in about a week ago. I was meditating. I heard them coming home, and they're just very loud. They're, stomping and like playing music. My lease is up in, 2 weeks. So I'm like, oh, well, I'm meditating right now. And I can hear them, and that's when the thoughts start to pop in, like, oh, well, maybe I should go say something, and just ask them to keep it down, or, maybe I should renew, um, maybe I shouldn't renew my lease, or like, how is this going to affect my children when I'm trying to put them to bed? And like, these are the thoughts that come in. And as I was meditating, it was kind of like, okay, well, those are the thoughts that are arising right now.
Mm-hmm.
The ideas are fine. Maybe I'll have to do one of those things, but right now I'm meditating, and so I'm just seeing these thoughts come up. And they would come up, and then gradually they'd subside, and then I'd hear something else. They'd like stomp, or they'd drop something, or they'd start cooking and start banging on something, and I'd be like, "Oh man, like if my kids are sleeping and they hear the sound, they might wake up." And, I recognize again, like, oh, that's my thought that's coming up. I'm not, like, I see the content of the thought, but I'm not like, I guess I don't really respond to it so much as I'm recognizing that the thoughts are thoughts as they come up, right? And so I don't know if that's the distinction you're trying to make when you say there's a texture of thought, there's an understanding of thought as a phenomenon as it's occurring, and then there's the content of the thought, which is something different. Like the thought is there for sure. The content of the thought is not. Is that, does it
Well,
sound like the point that you're
you
trying to
no,
make?
but
Yeah.
you use an example, but I don't see what is wrong with your example. Things happen, and your whole
Yeah.
system get engaged because your environment and you are one. So
Mhm.
the environment change and your system change with it.
Right. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with the example I'm giving because in this example, what I've done is I've recognized like I'm experiencing the phenomenon of thought. Like I see the thoughts coming up, but I'm not responding to them. I'm not like, okay, well, I need to go upstairs and go talk to them right now. It's like, no, I'm meditating. Like it's okay. There can be some noise while I meditate, and I can see the thoughts that are coming up while it's happening. And in that way, I'm wondering if I'm engaging with the texture of thought as you're describing, in a way that's, I guess, skillful as opposed to focusing on the content of the thoughts. Is it like, yeah. And so that's kind of the topic I'm trying to explore with this example I'm talking about.
For me, the when I'm deeply engaged with the texture of thought, the content disappear.
Okay. I I guess that hasn't really been an experience that I can
But
recall.
I don't think. Yeah, but is that what I was? But there is no memory of it. So how can I
Hmm.
be sure? Because the memory is a thought. Whatever you think about the past, there has to be a thought. Even your experience
Right.
of illumination is a thought, right?
Yeah.
So f- f- for me, I'm more focused on the practicality, of this process. In the sense that if there is a situation that you express, it's normal that thought will emerge and trying to find a solution. I don't see nothing wrong with it in any uh, shape or form. And when you say, "Oh no, I am in meditation now. I will not do this now, and I will stay this sort of this," what you're really watching is it's always connected to the full field because the impulse will be there, right? At some point, if they make too much noise, it will build up, build up, build up. At some point, you will just see the body will stand up and say, "I have to do something about this." Or maybe it get low, and then
Yeah.
you depending on you on the capacity of your system to hold imbalance, to hold in comfort, you will be able to hold a lot of noise and maybe not, depending really on the body to body. So I think the most useful is to simply perceive that okay, there is noise, there is something that is trying to find a solution. Yeah, but at no point you describe any emotions whatsoever or sensations, and that I find
Hmm.
very interesting because often something that annoys us and something that the mind trying to find a solution of, it's often because there's discomfort somewhere because the perception or there is something that is causing discomfort, and then that's when the thought kick in. Otherwise, the thought doesn't kick in because if your neighbor is very silent, you don't think about him. Why do you think about him? Not because he's noisy, because there is an emotion arising within, and that was the point that I was naming at the beginning. There is the event, there is this part that is trying to find a solution, but what is the sensation all about?
Mm. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of understand what you are talking about there because, when I hear this noise that my neighbor is making, there is fear that it's going to impact, my sleep and the sleep of my children. There's anger when it's like, why does he have to play music so loud, like right now? Like, why can't they just put in headphones? Like,
Yeah, I
all of these
understand you.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, oh well, here are the things I could do. I could move out. I could look for another place to live. I could complain to security, but um because I have those fears, angers, whatever, like that comes up, and I recognize the situation as it is potentially disturbing, right? Like when this situation arises, I have a noisy neighbor. Well, now I have fear. I have a feeling of resistance, basically. Like they shouldn't make noise. I don't want them to make this much noise.
Yeah.
And then the thought comes in. It's like, oh, well, how am I going to solve this problem? Like, what are the things that I could do? Now, I think in the past, what will happen is, you know, I'll get involved in the content of the thought, and that would look something like, well, I'm going to go up there and talk to them. All right, but I don't want to be mean about it. Like I want to try and be a nice guy because that's important to me. So if I go up there, like, what would I say to them? I might say, oh, hey, like I introduce myself and I try to smile and be like nice. And so that's one way that I would go, which is kind of being in the content of the thought, where it's like, all right, well, I'm going to go talk to them. What am I going to say? And when I say it, like, what's the right way to say it? And then there is, I think, what I've been doing more, including kind of what I did yesterday when meditating, was more just like, okay, I see these thoughts are coming up, right? Like they're really there, It's like I think all of these things, like, oh, maybe I should go upstairs and talk to them. Maybe I should, say this or that, and then it calms down, right? Like the thought sort of calms down because I'm like, oh, I'm meditating right now. I see that these thoughts are coming up. It's like, well, maybe I should move out. Maybe I should look for a different place to live. Okay, well, that's another thought that's coming up right now because I'm
Hmm.
hearing this noise. But I'm not going to do that right now. I'm not going to call security right now. I'm not going to get up from my chair and go, confront them right now just because these are thoughts right now that I don't need to respond to. That's not what I'm intending to do. My body doesn't feel a need to do that right now. It's just feeling what's more noticeable to me, and you're right, is that like the thoughts that come up. I see them and I'm like, okay, those are the thoughts. And I see what you're saying in that they're responses to the emotion and to the resistance. Um, but I guess I kind of yeah, I'm not really sure. I think I do pay more attention to the thoughts as than I do to sensing the emotion, or at least that's kind of how I remember it.
Yeah, that's why that's a beautiful moment when you have a meditation. There is something disturbing that arises. It's perfect because this disturbance is supporting you in feeling a stronger emotion that is easier to feel. So you can say everything you say, the thought is emerging, all of this work is great. But then, how does the body feel about now? How does the body feel right now? Just you
Yeah.
don't have to seek an emotion or to try to. You just is it relaxed? There is expansion, there is contraction. Just what's happening in the field of sensing? What's happening there? You know, because our
Mm.
experience is infinite. But as you say, we focus on thought and we dismiss all of the other one.
Yeah.
But by doing this, we dismiss a huge chunk of our experience. And that's what I was telling by going is nearer than you because the neighbor seemingly is further than you. The thought is on the periphery, but the nearer you go into, perception, if you go nearer and nearer, you will see that, oh my God, everything is here. your emotion, but your emotion, it's easier to perceive is right in yourself. I mean, there is no distinction. There is almost no space. It's just
Mm.
it is your emotion emerges. It is you, right? It's I mean it. But then
Mm.
later on you can even do deeper work with sound. It is easier when it's pleasurable than when it's triggering. But the sound of the neighbor is not the sound of the neighbor. It's the sound that you are hearing, and the sound itself is an appearance in your experience. So the question is not why is the neighbor disturbing me? Why is this sound appearing in me, disturbing me? Because if the same sound is your family upstairs doing a birthday, right? If you have a house and upstairs is a birthday, you probably could meditate because it's a bit noisy, but it's my family, I love them, so everything's fine. But you don't know this guy. So the issue is not the sound. The issue is the layer of interpretation that we project on the sound, on the experience of hearing. So that's why when you go deeper and deeper, you will start to perceive a lot of different things happening that is not as simple as this is my day-to-day life, my neighbor is making noise, what should I do? No, it's when you go deeper, you will see, no, everything is within me. So this sound is really in me. So why this sound? Why the neighbor making sound is disturbing, but the bird that is singing is not? What's the difference? You see? And you will see it's about interpretation. It's about all of this. It's the way our finite mind has been indoctrinated into some kind of system belief. But for you, I will strongly encourage you to pay attention to sensation.
So yeah, interesting. So that's kind of, I would say that's where I start when I meditate, right? So when I'm in my meditation, I'm feeling the sensations, I'm trying, it's presence. And what pulls me out of the presence is the sound or is this disturbance. And then it's the thought, it's the resistance to the situation, It's the resistance to the situation, and then it's the thoughts about how I'm going to solve this problem.
Yeah, but the
And
resistance itself, all of this, it's appearing
yes,
in your experience.
correct,
So,
yeah.
so you say resistance appear. What do
Mm,
you mean by
yeah.
resistance?
Well, that's the difference, I guess, between hearing the sound of a bird or the sound of my upstairs neighbor, where it's like, well, a bird, I'll hear it sometimes. You know, the bird doesn't really have any control over that, and it is what it is. Whereas when it's my upstairs neighbor, it's like, oh no, are they going to do this every day? And like, they should know better. Like, there's more resistance there's a stronger feeling of like, this shouldn't be happening. Whereas if it's
Yeah.
like a bird, it's like, what are you going to do? You're going to go outside and throw rocks at the birds? Okay, maybe, but then the birds are going to come back. There's nothing you can do, right? And so
Well,
that's kind of what I mean when I say there's
it's
resistance.
now I understand, but it's really the same with neighbors,
Yeah,
If
it's true, right? We don't have control over that very much either. Yeah.
it's but I understand, but this is the level of sensitivity that I am pointing to. That your day-to-day life, it's a great exploration. That's the only one you have, So if the
Correct.
struggle
Yeah.
is with your neighbor, that's what you have to explore. And to say, oh, this is not enlightenment, it's stupid, because if it's important to you and if it's happening to you, that's what you have to look. And you cannot negate this if this is the strongest situation that emerge. So pay attention
Right.
to this, And there is,
Yeah.
and again, there's a moment of resolution, of course, moving. If neighbor are noisy, me too, I have I connect because I have very loud neighbors. So there is a challenge there to find a good position and all of this. But I perceive there is a strong reaction about this that doesn't come from the neighbor. There is a part which is I have preference. I prefer quiet and respectful, what I consider respect. which is being very quiet, the best you can. But there is something
Yeah.
that is way more than this. That is like life-threatening situation. Like you said, time. This is never ending. I will never sleep. My life will go to hell. I will lose my job and I will lose peace. And so there is something below this, yeah, that is emerging, and this is what is interesting to watch, and it's interesting to differentiate from the situation, because otherwise, thought will never leave you alone. But if you dissociate, okay, I know there's a problem. I know right now. I will not do this right now. Maybe when I finish my meditation after an hour, 2 hours, I will do it. But now I'm here. Okay, so I will take this time to really feel this as best as I can. This thing that is in my belly, in my shoulder, in my neck, and I will try to be with it as much as I can. If I can, you can start to move a little bit and feel pleasant part. You can start to stretch. That's why
Mm.
stretching and doing tai chi and things are very helpful, because often they give you support to do something very slowly, but still in sensation. Yeah, so you stretch, and then it disappear, and then you come back. I'm the Buddha again, and then there is a sound again, and then there is a tension. Oh, here it is again. Great, I feel this as best as I can, and maybe disappear, maybe it come back, but maybe it is too much, too much, too much, too much. So maybe you just stand up, you go drink a glass of water, to pretend that you are very thirsty, as it is very important. So you go, you stand up, you drink your glass of water, and then you sit back again. Okay, now I will try again, and you simply give space to it. Like again, it's not about a purpose of destroying the emotion. It's I will give it space for it to be. I will be with that as much as I can. And there is stretching is a technique. There is a millions others things that you can do, but there's not really a technique. The only technique is being with it. It's sensitivity, but it's not. There is no formulation, specific way that you can be, because every being is very different.
Yeah, well, so I guess I'll kind of describe, you know, so when this happens, and as I've described, like, I hear the sound, I have this resistance to it, and they're all thoughts, right? Like, oh, this is going to go on forever. I'm going to pay a bunch of money, and I'm not going to be able to sleep, and my kids aren't going to be able to sleep. And then it's another layer of thought beyond that, where it's like, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. And then when I remember that I'm meditating, it just instead of saying like, oh, I'm going to feel the sensation, I just say, okay, well, these are thoughts. Like thoughts are happening, right? And I can almost, it feels like I can let go of them a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I feel, what comes back is sort of presence or an absence of thought. And I think so so the distress that comes from the situation kind of subsides, right? Like the resistance or whatever is just like, okay, well, the what's happening now is I'm sitting in presence and I hear these sounds and I have thoughts going. That's the situation right now, and I'm sitting here with this. And then, something else will happen. We'll drop something, or, they'll start singing to their music or something, and I'll just be like, oh, like and then it all comes back, right? Like the resistance, like, why are they singing now? Like, why are they dropping things? It's so inconsiderate. Like, and then it's back to that, and then it comes then again, it's like I'm meditating. I see these thoughts coming up. I'm upset about the situation. I have resistance to the situation because I think it means this, and this is how I want to solve it. But these are all thoughts that I don't need right now. These are just thoughts, right? And so then I come back to presence. So instead of saying like, oh, well, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to feel what I feel, it's more just like when I see the response, which is the thinking and the resistance, I let go of that. And so is that kind of the same thing as feeling the situation, or is there something that I'm overlooking when I guess there's an emphasis that I've experienced on letting go of the thoughts and the things that are not a part of the direct experience. Um, that's more my focus, letting go of what's false, basically. And what you're describing is paying more attention to what's real. And it seems like they're two sides of the same coin, but like I also want to make sure that I'm not overlooking something that um may be useful, you know?
You can't think and feel at the same time.
Mm,
So you have to disengage with thought to be with sensation.
I see.
But every reactivity, every emotion have a psychological uh, uh, echo in thoughts. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Sure.
yeah. So the approach that I propose is a direct approach through the the somatic aspect of our experience, which is sensing directly. Some approach use a combine of the story and the somatic approach, like tell you story, pa 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 pa, and then you feel something, and you use thoughts to kind of explore. But I think if you get used to dive into the sensation, to sensation, you will see you will be able to meet the reactivity that you had with the neighbor, even if the neighbor is not making sound, because he is not the cause of this upset. Yeah, the the resistance is in you. It's not in the neighbor. So you are.
Right.
It is possible if you are deeper and you go deeper in the body, you will feel parts in your body that are tense for no reason. Yeah. So if you stay with the body and you stay enough, you will see, I feel pain in my chest right now. I feel pain in my neck. I have a tension in my hand. You see? So you will start to notice that there is things, all of the emotion is right here. And you can meet them more and more without the story, without the narration, without the drama from outside. Even if it will always come to support you. You know, there will always be trouble coming to you, so that's fine. But to learn to be with the body, it's there is a huge reward with it. But at the
Mm,
beginning, it may seem like, if there is no thought triggering emotion when I am with sensing, there is nothing happening in my body. But you know, everything is already happening in your body. You just don't feel it.
I see.
Yeah, because if you feel an
Hmm.
emotion, then this emotion was there anyway. Yeah, so it's simply that's what what I propose. It's not the only
So
approach, but it's what I propose.
letting go of the thoughts is necessary, but not sufficient to exploring the emotion. Is that right? Because in a way, I'm saying that my experience has been I let go of the thoughts and return to presence, which is, feeling the sensations of the body. And it's not, to me, it's not super remarkable. So it doesn't, as you're saying, it doesn't really feel like there's anything going on, really. It just feels like I'm in presence. I'm not really feeling, I'll sometimes feel like, oh, I have a tightness in my gut, or I have like a feeling in my wrist. But for the most part, it's like I'm back to presence. There's nothing really happening. There's a
Mm-hmm.
stillness there. But if what I'm hearing you say is like, that's when emotions need to be looked at, or the body needs to be looked at more. It's not sufficient for me to. I guess I sort of had this concept that, okay, well, if I'm letting go of the thoughts and I'm paying attention to presence, then I'm doing what I should be doing. But it sounds like you're saying let go of the thoughts, but then you still have to look into sensations. Like you can't just sit in presence and feel like there's nothing going on. Like you kind of have to look in the sensations as well. Is that,
No,
does that sound like what you're saying?
it's if I say this, I will correct myself because it is not very
Oh,
clear. If you stay within your own presence, no matter what, but you will see you stay in your own presence, but then you will see there is no distinction between your presence and experience. There are, because there is no boundary between both of them.
hmm.
So the interesting question is, if it's so pleasant to be in your own presence, why do you move from this?
Well, I move from it because there's, I guess in the example if I'm giving from last night, I'll hear something else. There'll be something that brings my attention back to the situation, and I'll feel that resistance again, and I'll feel the
Exactly.
thought. And
That's what I'm telling you.
yeah.
You say I
Mm,
feel, but the feeling often is a sensation. The resistance is a sensation also. That's what
hmm.
I'm telling you. You stay in your presence and you will see there will be things happening. The resistance appearing, that's the sensation that you have to look. You don't have to kind of, investigate and like, I have to explore this, I have to
Mm,
move. No. Stay in the presence, stay in this peace, and you will see things will happen. I have to do this.
yeah.
I don't want, and that's the resistance. This is the sensation that need to be looked at. If it emerge,
Interesting.
but it will emerge, most probably.
So I feel like I'm missing the sensation because the resistance comes up and then the thought comes up immediately after.
Yeah,
And I'm just trying to, and when I let go of the thought, I also let go of the resistance pretty quickly because like the resistance is based in thought, really, you know? Or for I'm that's my concept of it right now is like, well, the reason why I'm fearful of the situation is because I worry about what this could mean in the future. Like it's based in thoughts. So when I let go of the thoughts about, what I'm going to do to fix this problem, and I let go of my thoughts and assumptions about like why this situation is unacceptable, I feel like sometimes I'm back in presence before I've really explored the sensation of the resistance.
yeah.
Am I missing something though? And if so, like how does one explore that, you know? Like I feel like I'm skipping a step somehow, but
Yeah, from my perspective, it's the opposite. You have the emotion, and thought is justifying it.
hmm,
So
okay.
you are like you say there is resistance and there is thought after. When you go to thought, you kind of get over. So it's like you can get into the resistance very deeply. Yeah, and
Hmm.
that's what I'm telling you. If you focus more into thoughts, more into sensing, you will grow in sensitivity, and then you will start things. You will start to feel the resistance arising in you, the tension arising within you, and you will see thoughts started to kick in. Oh, this is because of this. This is because of that. I have to do this. I have to do
Okay. I think the thoughts right now are, for me are just too quick because that's the first, like, I'm
that. Yeah,
not
but
aware of the
that's
sensation until I'm aware of the
that's
thought.
why what I propose, because it's instead of talking what is first and what is prior and all of this,
Mm,
which is more a theory and can be fun, but who knows, right? I think it's more
hmm.
useful to approach it in the sense that experience is a whole, and there's different dimension into it. There is perception, there is sensing, and there is thinking. And often we focus only on one, and we tend to overlook completely the others. But when we grow, when we start to perceive more, it's not that thought is quick. It's just like you overlook a huge aspect of your experience constantly, but it's still there. So it's just a way of thinking and approaching. So when you're not in thought, it's okay. Thought can be here, but you can still feel sensation. Just as you can hold everything together. in a way. That's a
Okay.
useful way to think about, to kind of allow yourself that you don't miss
Yeah.
anything. Everything is here. So what is here? And that's the way you start. If you say there is only thought, you can start to assume that you are denying a part of your experience because sensations are always present. So okay, thought is here, blah blah blah. What else is here? There is my bottom of the chair. That's interesting. There is
Mm.
also a chest. There is hands. There is this, there is that. And you will see that you will start to open up. And the more you are
Okay.
in contact with the sensation, you will start to you'll be able to perceive. You will catch the emotions arise sooner and sooner and sooner and sooner.
Hmm.
At some point, you will see your system feeling angry, and then you will go seek for a relationship to project his anger into. You are in the office working, and you start to feel angry, and then suddenly you need a coffee because there is people out there, and then you stand up, you go there, and there is someone that you don't like, and then I don't like this coworker. He is the cause of my anger. But if you see the whole process, it's very funny. I mean, it's insane, but it's and there is some in a funny way.
Hmm. Yeah, well, so in the scenario you're describing, you can feel the sensation or the emotion. You feel the emotion before thought really starts up. I mean, is that kind of that's the point you're making? When you have the sensitivity, you can recognize the emotion almost first before the thought arises.
Yeah, because thoughts do not have emotions.
Hmm.
You are feeling the emotion, but thought is not feeling emotion. So thought doesn't know what an emotion is. So it's guessing
Hmm.
constantly. It's guessing what it is. That's why often it creates associations. For example, if I have attention in my belly is anxiety. But attention to the belly is not anxiety. It is thought that is making an interpretation based on a sensation. But the sensation itself is not anxiety whatsoever. It's a sensation. So thought creates differentiation, but it is blind to the actuality of the sensation that is here.
Right. It's just labeling, and then in
Exactly.
my case, it's creating problems and solutions, and in a way that
Yeah.
that's what makes it hypnotic.
Yeah. And if you
And
go deeper, you will see
mhm,
that this association after it's so deep, this imprint, that then in situation it will start to tell you how you should feel about this. And then you will start to feel things. But if we go too deep into this after we are in time, we are in trying to controlling things and all that. But the very simple, it's be with your sensations as much as you can, and you will see, you will discover amazing things there. Amazing. You will see times that there is no emotion, and the thought, it's so um, conditioned to believe that this specific situation with this person you must feel anger, for example, and it will feel like as if you feel anger. But if you go a new sensation, there is no anger there. So there is a way that thought is somehow mimicking emotions, but it is not actually present in your field.
mm, yeah. So in that case, you have the thought without the sensation or the emotion. You just have the thought that says, "Hey, you should feel this emotion," but the emotion and sensation are not there.
Yeah, and you will see most of the
Mm.
time, like I said at the beginning, because you say yes to thought constantly, you say, "Oh yes, I should feel this." Well, then here it is. Then you
Hmm.
then you really feel it. But the cause is not the thought. The cause is you, in a way, because you
Hmm.
give the approval. Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So an interesting thing for me is that um, when I drop the thoughts, I feel like the sensation goes too. And it sounds like it may be a useful exercise to let the thought be there and stay there, and then and see what sensations are going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Because right now I'm quick to try and let go of the thought, where I'm just like, okay, that's the thought. I'll look at it, I see that it's there, and then I drop it.
Mhm.
And then when I look at when I look at the sensation, there's nothing remarkable there. I've dropped the thought, and so I don't have anything else really to pay attention to. So I'm
That's
just like
that's you see, that is showing a, a huge lack of you, that's you are lacking
sensitivity to the
sensitivity
sensation.
for appreciation for sound,
Mm,
for seeing, for sight. There's nothing here. There's nothing here.
yeah,
Hearing, tasting, smelling, sensing. It's a universe. Sensing.
yeah,
It's it, it it's mind blowing. The one sensation. It's I mean, there's no one sensation, but the field. It's mind blowing. And you keep saying there's nothing here. There's nothing happening. It's like I use of very often the story of eating Tabasco. If you have eaten Tabasco since you were born, you are used to it very spicy. Maybe yeah, at your 30 or 40 years of eating every meals with Tabasco with spice, huge state of spice. Maybe if someone give you a steamed broccoli, you will say it has no taste, which from your perspective is true, but it's because you lack sensitivity. That's all. If you stop eating spice, you will see water has a specific taste. If you take different bottle of water, every water have a very specific taste. It's very different. But if you drink Coca-Cola every day, maybe you don't have the power to perceive it. It's the same with sensitivity. We of the body, we overlook so much that then when we are with it, we say there is nothing happening there. But I assure you, all of the troubles are there because you want to feel happiness, right? That's
sure,
what you
yeah,
want. Well, happiness, love. Where do you feel those but in your body? Where else? It's not in thoughts.
mm,
It's not in perception. It's in the sensation. That's where the main juice is, really. But we overlook this. Oh, there's nothing there. There's nothing there. But at the same time, that's where everything you want is, which is not really true
yeah,
because emotion is not a sensation. All of this. But anyway, just for the sake of this specific case, the issue is the resistance. I don't want this. The pulling back it's a sensation. It's a feeling, and the I want this is a feeling. It's a sensation. You have to be with sensation. There is really no to me there this is it.
I see.
And
Yeah,
you,
I
you can
think,
start with easy things, which is when you take a shower, appreciate if there is thoughts or not doesn't matter. Appreciate the 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 the, the miracle that almost no human being on earth ever had, which is taking a shower whenever you want, for as long as you want, with the perfect temperature that you want, without without being in fear of being eaten by something. Just the miracles of the opportunity that we have to have a moment of enjoying a shower, for example. It seems like nothing. Why? Because it's huge. It's huge. Appreciate well, this is a story, right? But just appreciate the texture, the water, the temperature, and you will see it's really it's beautiful. And then you will go deeper and deeper, and things will start to happen. Things will start to open up.
mm, yeah, I think you're right that I've just been eating the Tabasco for so long that I'm just looking for relief from the Tabasco, and when I get it, I'm too like that takes my focus too much, and I don't taste the broccoli because I'm just like, oh, thank goodness. My mouth isn't on fire for a second. And
Yeah,
so you're I think you're right that I don't have the kind of sensitivity to the other senses just because I've been caught in thought for a really long time. So yeah, I, I appreciate it.
yeah. Thank you, Ray. Yeah, this is the process, and that's why in the course we start from thoughts, because we have to see the nature of thought. We have to see how much we are hypnotized by it, and how much when we explore other things it seems like nothing's happening. But that's why often artists are more open to those kind of exploration, because they are used, to go to music, to go into different, to go into different aspects of experience. But otherwise, it's really thought, analyzing, thinking, knowledge, reading, But don't judge yourself, don't simply, this is what's happening. This is the next step that I perceive, and I just take it. That's it. No one is above, no one is below. Your everyday life is one aspect of this infinite consciousness that is exploring itself. Remember at the beginning? But it's in a very powerful and meaningful way. So your everyday life is not really your everyday life, but step by step, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ray. It was a long talk. I hope that you could enjoy it, that you enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, thank you for the conversation. I really enjoyed the nuances. Like it really went into the little subtle details, and I think that was very helpful, at least to me, and I think to Ray and down here. Yeah, so thank you very much.
You see, right now there is a lot of things happening. There is infinity happening right now. There is this actuality that is here. This unnameable, inexplicable miracle that is here. So often we approach this miracle by saying, why is not miraculous? And we put the responsibility on actuality. You have to do incredible things, to be incredible. Show me you're incredible. But really, it has nothing to do with the problem is not in actuality. The problem is we are dumbed down so much, our sensitivity, our perception. We accept so much to be constrained in our belief, in our limitation, and then we complain about it. All the while they are not there. So it's very curious to blame reality about the dullness of human life when we don't want to explore human life. We are catch up in the drama. We're not really in direct contact with experience, with actuality. And when we are, we say there's nothing happening there. Yeah, well, it depends what your definition of happening, and your definition of entertainment, and your definition of peace. Some people who are, Some people are because we move the norm, in deeper state of constraint, deeper state of separation, deeper state of suffering, and so much that at some point the suffering become our tranquility. The we fall in love with our own pain in a way. It's very strange. It's like the Stockholm syndrome. You fall in love with the one which is seemingly keeping you in captivity. So there is no guilt, there is no need to complain to anyone, there is no victim. There is simply this humbleness to simply notice, to take note of what is happening, and you start to pay attention, and you start to pay more attention, and more and more. And this is the sensitivity to dive deeper in all of the layers of our experience, all of the layers of actuality, and the tenderness to not judge, that in the sense that there's no judgment to have on anything. No one is superior or inferior. This is simply experience that is shining forth, that is presenting itself, and that's what needs to be explored.
Do you think it's helpful to eliminate some of the physical things that keep us in like a heightened activation or stimulation, like screens or even certain foods that have too much sugar? I mean, I stay away from it because of my health stuff. But just certain things that we eat that are, even like you said, the spicy, that dulls the taste buds, right? So in that way, to just lessen the input that's very loud. You know what I'm asking? Is it helpful to...
Whatever you perceive as helpful, do it. There's nothing wrong is trying to be less with screen, less Wi-Fi, less food, less this, less that. That's great. Yeah, if you can. But from my perspective, don't become obsessed about it, because the more deeper you go, the more the impulse will start to emerge, and life start to take over. And whatever need to change will be changed, and whatever can't, well, it don't. But sure, if you feel an impulse of this way of life that you feel that is more harmonious, well, of course, do it. Of course. If that makes sense for you.
Yeah, I feel it has a big impact because sometimes there's such a hyperfixation on like the thought world, and I just can't come down from it. And I think it's helpful to just get used to ordinary experience, like things that are just not exciting, and so that helps me slow down. It helps me like come back in.
Yeah, beautiful. Whatever you do, be aware of strain, because as soon as you impose something on your system, you will create tension. So it will be counterproductive.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with me, I tend to sabotage because I either go for something really intensely and I usually just, it doesn't work.
Yeah,
so I
know.
Can't be structured. I have to have somewhat of a structure. I'm trying to figure out like what would work, because I do get distracted. Like, this is my main interest, what you're talking about. But sometimes I'll get into a pattern and it's replaying itself, and it'll take like 2 weeks to clear out. It's like it goes on a loop. And it's one of these things. Can't get in touch with what I actually love, which is this, and it's just it just captures me.
Yeah, that's fine, but that's why I talk about tenderness. It seems like it's a nice word, but to me it's a very powerful thing to be tender, because you understand that this body and mind are limited to so it is trying to find its best way to, to express the presence that we are. So the best structure is a structure that comes from within, that is not self-imposed. That is, the best structure is a structure that is an evidence. Like, it's obvious that I have to do yoga. I mean, it's just, that's it. It makes sense for me to do body exploration with the use of yogasana. That's my thing, and I think it's good. Oh no, it's obvious I have to do Tai Chi. I mean, it just makes sense. It's perfect. I have time. It's perfect for me. It makes sense for me to just do Zen, sitting and waiting in front of a wall for hours and just watching. It's perfect. Whatever makes sense for you, but it has to come from some like obviousness. It is simply obvious I have to do this, because if you try to impose a technique or a structure from the mind, it will create a huge tension. So it may work for you for some years, but at some point everything will collapse anyway. So that's why on the long term it doesn't work. So it's better not to do it anyway, because when you impose something from the mind, you read a book and something works for someone. I will start to do this, vegan, or eating meat, or yoga, or Tai Chi, or traveling, or whatever, techniques that emerge. If you impose them on your life, you are being violent, and the tension that you want to suppress with this technique, it will just build in. It will just take a different shape and form. So, and often one cycle can take between 5 to 7 years. That's why you see often people changing techniques every 5 or 7 years. They are Buddhist, and after 7 years they are non-dualist, and then they are back to therapy, and then they are back to something else, and they're just moving around because they are cycle. But that's why the true structure is not really a structure. Is to feel the impulse that is inevitable of the moment. It's inevitable for me to be vegan. It's just perfect. I don't even think about it, right? It's like you drink water. Why? Because I'm thirsty. I drink water. That just makes sense, So it has to become obvious.
Yeah, and so can I just do what I was doing, which was just going to this because I enjoy it, because it feels good. Like every time I come to some of these type of meetings, it nourishes me on a deep level, and whereas other things they don't. It's not the same. So I'm not applying something in a rigorous way. I'm just coming and letting it like sink in and just opening to it, which is already happening because I love it so much. So, I just wonder if I could just continue take for a long time, but maybe...
follow the joy, because what else you have really to guide you? Thought doesn't know. Thought is the confusion to begin with, so you cannot rely on to that.
No, I mean because some people say have certain techniques, certain practices, and for me it just seems like just immerse myself in this subject. Like I just enjoy being around this type of thing, just here. But I'm not doing anything. But see, then I'm also immersed in some of the other stuff, like then the thoughts take over, and maybe I should do something to I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. At some point you will be immersed into this, right? And often people who are really deeply into this, often they mistreat their body very badly. I did. Because there is things that you need to learn, But to me it's better if you really forget time, you forget the goal. What is right here? What is the impulse right here, right now? And you will see over time there will be some approach that will at some point will make sense for you. You meet a teacher, a guy, or someone, and you will say, I don't know. You will see there will be impulse that will simply drive you to do things. or not, which is
Yeah,
perfectly fine. The Zen, it's an approach that the guy just seated and things happened, and that's it. And that the technique is seated. It's nothing wrong with it, but maybe that's not what you want. You want to be more interaction, going to meetings, and what you've said, it's part of your process, so there's nothing wrong with it, all right. But maybe at some point you will be done with this and you will just be quiet by yourself, or maybe something else. You know?
right. And were you saying that you neglected the body when you were into this subject? You were just,
Yeah.
is that what you said? Yeah. So I find that I have to do both. I have to work on just doing basic health habits, which I've done for a long time because I need to. I don't really have the luxury to not do that. So, and certain things like you're saying, like Tai Chi, just to open the diaphragm, to get the breath deeper, to have the alignment, to have everything right, and then also to come to these type of meetings.
Okay. That's fine. If this makes sense for you and it's supporting you, there's nothing. Because it's not about what you do. It's not about behavior. And because it's not about behavior, it's not about what you do or what you don't do. So you can do Tai Chi or you can not do Tai Chi. And really it's for the topic of who you are and to discover the nature of reality, it's irrelevant if you do Tai Chi or you don't do Tai Chi.
So to me, so you think it's irrelevant because it didn't affect your ability. So you're saying you neglected the body, but somehow this realization happened anyway. Yeah.
I'm saying I don't recommend to neglect the body. I'm just saying this is part of my history, the memory I have of my process. I think it's unique for everyone. That's why I tend to not speak about what the memory I have, because I'm not sure that will be helpful to anyone. Because it's so specifically unique, so specifically, like, I don't know what is perfect for you right now, but, so, and things will happen naturally.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. And I was trying to see what the balance is, because when I was doing 80% this and 30% or 20%, the other thing, it didn't really work well, and I think I have to divide the time between that and the other, my life.
Yeah, but you see, even this way of trying to balance things, it's very unique to you. I never balance anything. I'll always go straight full on into something, and whatever cost, I will pay it later. I will just like completely stubborn. And there's good things to learn, and there is bad lesson, and that's just part of the unfoldment, and that's very unique. So there's no regret, there's no remorse. There is simply the memory of it, and there is to me a strong acknowledgement. I don't know what is best for everyone, but but what I point is not to a technique. It's a pointer, but there is no specific way that it has to appear for any one of you. So if you find a balance, try to find a balance and all. But see that this is life expressing itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you. I do find, for me specifically, it's one feeds into the other. If the healthier I am, the more this is accessible to me. The more accessible this is to me, the healthier I am on a body level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. But what I'm pointing to is the fact that you have access to a healthier style life. It's really unique to you. Some people don't have access to that, or some people have body who are already in decay. so the healthy style life, it's kind of past already or something. So wherever you are, this is what you have to be with and to explore this actuality that is here.
Yeah, and maybe it applies to certain, because I have lots of autoimmune stuff, so I have to, like, if I'm not well if I don't take care of myself. So, and some people they're just fine. They don't really deal with a lot of health issues. So,
but deeply, the only disease is to identify with something we are not. This is the roots of all of the disease. ultimately. So there's nothing wrong with trying to have a healthy life. There's nothing wrong with trying to live 1,000 years. But the core roots of our suffering, our pain, it's really our confusion about what we are and what is reality. And often the beauty I found in this realization, it's when you see that you are free of doing anything you want, you can destroy yourself in the body and the mind, or whatever behavior, or you can try to heal it the best way you want. When you see that they are both valid exploration, they are both valid expression of reality, there is a tremendous freedom that emerges from what is good and bad, from morality, from all of this. And then there is this beauty that it allows the impulse to emerge in a very in a in a perfect and strange and unthinkable way. And I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, but how does that let's say a person doesn't take care of themselves and they develop dementia, and then they don't have access, like you're saying, there's always awareness, but let's say at that point they can't access that dimension of their being. And so
how do you know that dementia is not the unfoldment necessary for this being to understand something or to realize itself?
Yeah.
How do you know this?
Yeah, no, I'm saying if it's happening in that way anyway, and they don't know about these teachings, and that's fine. Yeah,
how do you know that the person who have the family around this person who have dementia is not what is needed for them to realize something? How do you know this? You don't know.
I mean, did you watch a person with dementia? They lose everything. I mean, there's nothing left there. There's not. It's very. It's actually really, really scary because they're first they're noticing the deterioration, and it's extremely.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a pleasant experience. I'm saying, how do you know that is not needed for all the beings that are involved, for the family, how do you know this?
Yeah, maybe, but then that I'm talking about the person themselves. If they neglect everything and they're not sleeping and they're not, whatever, and then their brain starts dysfunctioning, and so I don't know when people say, oh, you could just focus on enlightenment and just, and that will take care of everything. I don't know. That's not always true.
Well, I hope I never say focus on enlightenment and everything will be taken care of. I've never said this. This is not my experience. In fact, it's really the opposite. The more I feel tranquility, the more I'm taking care of my environment. So it's really the opposite of this.
Yeah, that's a common experience. That's true. But I hear people, but they're saying awareness is always available. But then what happens when there's, that kind of brain injury and
because the awareness is not affected by the brain. The brain is an appearance in awareness.
But they don't have the experience. I get it, but they don't have the experience of awareness.
But awareness is not an experience. Awareness is not an experience that the brain is having, because you are mixing the materialistic perspective into this. You are still holding the belief that the brain is what is creating consciousness, but the brain is not creating consciousness. The brain is an appearance in consciousness.
Yeah, which I think is the mind, and what you're describing.
The finite mind is the brain. Yeah, it's when you observe a finite mind from outside, it looks like a brain.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, totally. just like if I look at your sensation from outside, you will look as a body, but from inside doesn't feel like a body. But from outside, I will perceive you as a body, and that's the same with the finite mind. It seems to be like the brain, but the finite mind, which is the brain, it's an appearance in consciousness. So the brain, the finite mind, does not produce consciousness.
Yeah, depending on where you're looking from. It's so weird that you're saying this, because I've been trying to say this for a while and nobody understood what I'm talking about. Because exactly what I've been thinking. Exactly. From the outside, it looks a certain way. It has form, has dimension, it has. I'm so excited. And then the inner, the first person perspective is different. It's what you're saying.
Yeah, it's always different. Like yeah, it's completely different. And that's why here we only focus on the first-hand experience, because otherwise we don't know what else. I don't know if you are real now. Now there's even more. So who knows? I'm just interested in my first-hand perspective. That's it.
Exactly, like you. Yeah, like exactly. You don't know how far it could go. Like I might be hallucinating you, and then you're saying, then let's say I ask you, "Am I hallucinating you?" And you're like, "No,
Yeah,
I have a whole life."
But exactly. I'm telling you, for example, if you take mushroom and you perceive a pink elephant, the pink elephant is real to you. It's your actuality. So you will respond as, appropriately.
Right.
So it's not really reality. We use the word reality, but it's very confusing, because reality is whatever is appearing to you right now. When you dream, your reality is the dream, is the actuality that you appear. But there is no reality except outside consciousness. Consciousness is the only reality. So that's why I was telling, it's very simple. You pay attention to experience that is right here. And this is what needs to be explored. And if one day you have dementia, well, you will find out what it is from inside. And if one day one member of my family or whatever, I hope not, but if people around that we're in a relationship have diseases, well, then you will have a first-hand perspective from being a close family of this person, and you will have experience and this and that. You know how many people have diseases or are with family who have diseases, and this become a path of liberation to them. A lot. So we don't judge no one. We're not here to judge others' experience. We are not just explore your experience, and you share your insights to the people who are interested in them. Otherwise, you don't have to speak. You can enjoy the presence of someone without going metaphysical on them. You can go to a restaurant, movie, bowling. There's many things you can do. It's fine.
I just wanted to say thank you for saying that, because I have a lot of that. My father is going through cancer now and treatment, and his voice, which was very definitive for him in the community, is hoarse now because he had an operation. So a lot of stuff is going on, and I'm feeling tremendous sorrow around it. So when you're saying like maybe that's what's needed for him to have some kind of awakening, that really resonated. Because so that I don't, have to just go endlessly into sorrow and feeling bad that he has to go through that, as well as other people around, and in my immediate family, in my immediate surroundings, and in general. So it's a helpful story rather than my own story of their suffering and.
The best gift we can give to someone that is in a difficult situation is to be at peace. Really. I mean, if someone is suffering and you come with your own suffering because he's suffering, I mean, who do you think you are helping or supporting? You are supporting no one. And it is tremendously helpful to be with someone that is at peace with what is happening to you, with the difficulty you're having. And it is, when you are struggling with something and you're with someone that is completely at peace, it is here supporting, but it's not playing the game of victim, of suffering. He's just, yeah, okay, it's difficult for you to understand. Because it gives another possibility, it opens the door to another way of experiencing life, which is beautiful. It can be very beautiful. So Tammy, if you said that your father is going through something difficult, it's great if you free him. You free him for this is his stuff. You are supporting him, but this is his story. You have to deal with your own sorrow. My father is, having a disease. My father is you deal with your own sorrow until you hopefully maybe you can approach him in his disease and feeling completely loving and happy and peaceful with him.
Yeah,
Within the context of situation, of course. I mean.
Yeah. Rather than feeling like huge shame or guilt or responsibility that I need to save him or help him in some way or something like this, it just brings a tremendous turmoil. And he doesn't want it. He doesn't do what I do. He doesn't, I approach when I have illness differently, and he wants to take medicine and just, yeah.
No, I was in difficult situation, not some very difficult disease, but just to give an example. But when I am in difficult situation, I enjoy people who are happy and peaceful with them. I really enjoy them. I don't want, if I'm in a difficult situation, I don't want people to come with difficult situation too. I mean, it's already hard. Can you be happy? If you can, it's fine. We just meet when this is past. I think that this is my perspective on this.
Yeah, and I think, I want to remember what you said today, because that perspective of this is necessary for them and it's okay, like, brings a lot of allows more peace when being around them, rather than desperation or guilt or shame or like, oh God, what should we do? Like, this kind of thing.
Well, we don't want to talk about, but all the bodies die, and often we don't want, and there is disease and there is difficulties, and often we don't really want to admit it to our own self, or even between us. We never talk about disease because it's too much fear. But when someone is struggling with something and it's producing fear in the other, it's very difficult. It can feel very lonely and isolated. But if you are able to talk to someone, about, if you are in a cancer or hospital and there is a fear of death, which can be very heavy, to face it probably. And if you can't even speak to others because the others start to be agitated and shame and what you say, then the communication start to get lost and everyone start to feel lonely and all of this. So I think being happy in this process of freeing ourselves from the others struggling to feel our peace is not a dissociation from humanity. In fact, it's really it's opening the door to a really deep communication, even in struggling and difficult situation. Because you approach the other being not as a victim, but as a completely open. I'm in peace, and you are struggling. Okay, I'm here. I will do within my boundary, and I will offer. You offer a space that is really free of this, anxiety, fear, and it can be very beautiful what happened there.
Yeah, and it's exactly the opposite of everything that we're taught. How dare you smile if someone's suffering? How dare you, like, you're supposed to be sad with them. Like, that's what we're taught. And it's just the opposite. Yeah.
It's really terrible. The hospital, I work in a hospital for 6 months, about 6 months, and it was, I don't know how you say in English, but the palliative level, where there were old people who get different operation, and they get there because they will never leave there. That was the end place kind of for the body there. And I have never laughed so much in my life with the nurse, with the patient. Not all of them, but some. but with the nurse, I have a beautiful memory of it. So much joy. At the same time, so much, the struggling of human life. But I think what a beauty if the hospital, if people are happy, and joyful. Because it's already hard enough, you don't need to add the violin, the piano, and the drama on top of it. It's enough. There's enough drama there. You need to add your own. And it's very connected to what we talk about Ray also. When you enter the room, even when you enter in the hospital, there is a specific smell into it. And often this is already triggering because there is things, depending on your history anyway. But you can see, like you said, when you enter into a room, the mind will tell you, you should feel depressed, you should feel this, you should feel that. But if you stay connected to your sensation, maybe you will see, maybe you don't have to. Maybe the situation is this and that, but maybe you don't have to feel, like sad for the people. If you don't feel sad, you can stay happy. You don't have to laugh or to kind of express your joy, but you can just, I'm peaceful, and I know that this is difficult, but I'm peaceful here. And you feel the peace within you, not try to express, you just I'm peaceful. But the mind will say, no, but you have to be sad because he's sad. You have to be this because he's this. And all of those games. So again, if you stay tuned with your body more and more, you can really play with this. When you enter into the hospital, you can see at what point do you start to feel an emotion. When you take your keys at home before going out, or when you cross the first door, when you are at the level in the lift, when you step out of the lift, when you will open the door, when you're in the room with your father, when you touch him, and start to feel, in a tactile way what's happening.
My body stops breathing when there's any kind of smell like that. I'm like, uh-oh, danger, and I just kind of clamp down and stop breathing, and it starts panic. Yeah, so I do that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the exploration. Often it's disinfectant, it's alcohol that you smell in hospital. You can ask in the hospital the brand, or if you can, or whatever way that you can find the smell, and you can start to play with this. You can be in a beautiful park with flower, and you take this smell and you just put it a little bit and you smell it, and you look around, but I'm safe, and you start to explore, and you feel the body, and having fun, it's important.
Yeah, because then I start to judge it. Like if I go into even just a store with chemical sprays, there's a lot of chemical sprays that people put here. They think it smells nice. All kinds of stuff like that. My body will start to shut down and not want to breathe. And then I start to judge myself and wonder if I should try and force it to breathe deeply and tell myself there's nothing wrong, but the body doesn't believe it. It's like, how would you deal with that situation?
I think the best way, it's you have to learn to be with sensation. No, really,
Do I just accept the fact that the body tightens up and doesn't want to breathe, and that's it? And
you don't have the choice. You ask the question as if you are able to untighten it. But if the body is doing it, you don't have the choice but to feel it first.
Yeah.
And you have, like we said, to disentangle the story from the sensation. Even if there is a story, that's okay. But disentangle the story and feel the tension, and then you can start to play with that more and more. And if the smell is the issue, there is way that you can you go in a place or in your apartment, and when you are completely relaxed, you take one smell that is triggering, an incense or a perfume, or whatever, and you just open and you close.
It's a belief that it's harmful. I think it's a belief that it's harmful, and the body doesn't want to inhale it. So.
But you see, instead of working with the belief, you can explore with sensation directly. You open up and you smell, and you feel the impact, right? You feel the impact. and you stay with the impact. And you will see the intention, then it will relax, it will relax, it will open, open, open. Then you will breathe again. Okay, it's fine, it's fine. And then you open a perfume that is of 100% bio of flower, something that is an essence of flower, which is not chemical. Even if everything is chemical by nature, so I don't know, but you know, if you open just 100% of smell of flower, you open and you close. And this time you open and you close again. Interesting, explore, see what happened, and you start to play, you start to play, you start to play. Because if there is a belief that the chemicals are very bad for me, and you start to build a new belief, trying to fight the other one, and all of this, it's kind of playing with thoughts too much. There is a very direct, straight path. That's sensing directly, straight into it.
I don't think it's a belief. It's a refined nervous system. I have the same thing. Everything is like louder, like the lights are brighter, the noises are louder, the smells are more profound. It's just some people respond that way. And yeah, that you'll have that kind of reaction in the body, and there's nothing wrong with that. How your body receives it, you know. But yeah, what David said was really good.
So then I just need to avoid those kind of things, but also it makes it worse because sometimes we have bad air quality here, and they'll issue a thing like don't go outside, don't breathe deeply outside. So it kind of reinforces that within me of like maybe in chemically places or with pollution, we shouldn't breathe deeply, that it's bad for the body. So like maybe that's a true belief.
Well, that's in this exploration, that was my point, that you can't always avoid the thing that is triggering the body. So you have to find a way to live with it at some point. You know, you can move to the Swiss mountain, but even there, maybe there are things happening because whatever. So at some point, you do whatever you can to improve, but at a moment, you have to accept the situation as it is. So within that, what you can do, well, that's what I'm proposing there. Like, even if you breathe bad chemicals, if you can't avoid, there is a way that you can do it without, you know, the most flowing way possible. But all of this, it's accept what's happening in the moment. That's the best approach, always. Because, and the acceptance is not something that you do, it's you see that's the inevitability of it.
Yeah.
You see that it's inevitable for your neighbor to put this perfume in the lift, in the elevator, and when you come in, it's inevitable for you to get tense. Yeah. So this is just it. When there is tension, just feel the tension, feel the story. Yeah. Because tension is not really attention. Tension is it's already an interpretation of on the top of the sensation.
That the body contracts.
Yeah. I mean, the body contracts, but the fact that it's bad, it's good, or the emotional reactivity of this contraction is an interpretation already.
You mean me saying I shouldn't contract and like that?
No, I'm saying you can't stop the body of contracting. If you feel a contraction, it's already happening. So it's not about should I do it or not. It is already happening. And when you perceive that you don't have control on the tension of the body, that's the acceptance. The acceptance is realizing the fact that whatever you are aware of, it has already happened. It's already there to be seen.
So don't judge it, play with it. I like it.
Yeah, be sensitive and don't judge it. It's be tender. Accept the limitation of your body. Accept the limitation of your environment. and see what is the natural impulse for you, what is the right impulse that will emerge from that.
Well, my impulse now is to say thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you,
That
Tammy.
was
Thank you, everyone.
beautiful.
And
Thank
hope you have a good week. See
Thank you. I
you.
really appreciate it.
Bye.
All right, thank you.